Okay, so like I said, I'm Emily, and this is business math. We'll see if anyone is here for my pre-calculus course. I managed to copy and paste and not change the time, so hopefully they know what time their class is at. But if you're here for pre-calculus, it has come and gone. But feel free to stay for some business math. Um, all right. So, kind of the lay of the land for what we're going to be doing. We'll have our classes here in this Zoom room. This is also where I'll have my office hours. Um, I'll just be in here all the time. This is where I have all my classes, and I share my screen on my iPad, and I write on my iPad, and then I'll post those notes after class. So depending on kind of your learning style, if you find that it's easier to just kind of sit back and listen, then just don't worry because I will post the notes. Everything that I write, I'll post on Moodle right away. So um, not to worry there. And oh yeah, if you don't want to talk during our class, that's totally fine. If you do want to talk, just unmute and go for it. Sometimes I have a hard time hearing. I don't know why. I think maybe my speakers. Anyways, I'll blame it on whatever. But um, if you do have a question during class, then just put it in the chat. And then I try to kind of communicate what the question was in the video, and then but if you're here, you'll see the chat. So so just put it in the chat to everyone, and I'll try to address it. And I keep an eye on the chat as we go along. So that took some time for me to learn. Actually, it was kind of confusing to keep an eye on what I'm sharing, make sure it's good, and then the chat, and then everything else. Anyways, so I managed to put together some of our Moodle page, not all of it. I have had vertigo for the past week, and it's the worst. I do not recommend it. It's getting better, but whenever I turn my head, my eyes are kind of like so I'm just dizzy all the time. But so if I'm acting weird, then that's why, and that's why I'm not as organized as I would have liked to be. But we've got the main components here. We've got what we need for today, so that's all right. So we're all good. But just so you know that that's what's going on. It's only if I turn my head to the right. Left is fine. Anyways. Okay. What I like to do is I posted the course outline, but I like to take all the key information from the course outline, the stuff you actually care about, and just put it right on the Moodle page. So that's why we're starting here. And so my name is Emily Lee. Can you believe all those E's? It's a ton. Well, don't worry, my parents aren't cruel or anything. I was Emily Gustafson, and then I got married, and that's love. So you've got my email. I also give out my cell phone number. Feel free to text me if you have any questions. I'm an adult. I can decide if it's too late to answer, or if I'm sleeping, or if I'm busy, or whatever. So don't worry about texting me. You can text me anytime, and if I'm able to, I'll answer right away. But what I find is that it cuts down a lot of the communication time, because to sit down and to draft an email takes, I don't know, for me, it just takes longer. So I don't know if you feel the same way, but at least if I'm texting with someone, then I can say, hey, I'm working on this problem, and you can just send me a picture. Where did I go wrong? What happened here? And then I can do the same thing, right? I can, mark up on your picture, or I can do a little scribble and I can send you back a picture, and it just makes it a lot easier. So I know that's weird, but if you find it useful, then that's great. Feel free to email me. They both go to my phone. Uh, I'm normal like that. So, but email feels less urgent. So, anyways, but either way, you've got a couple of ways to get a hold of me. And yeah, feel free to get in touch anytime if you are working on something or if something's not working or whatever. All right. So, and don't worry, I do save you in my phone, so you don't have to introduce yourself every time. First time would be nice, ideally. Hey, it's blah, blah, blah. Then I can just save you in my phone. So don't worry, you don't have to do the song and dance. Tell me which course you're in though. I've decided to have my office hours. I just kind of pick some days and some times I work. I've picked Tuesdays and Wednesdays just for a little bit of variety, between 12 and 2. So, or any time by appointment. So if you're working on something, then we can meet at any time. I'm usually available, so just let me know. But yeah, so that's when I'll kind of just be here in the Zoom room. You can pop in if you have questions. If not, I'll just probably be here hanging out doing work. So doesn't matter. And then of course our class is here in Zoom. You all made it, so that's great. And look at us, 24 out of 30. Not bad. 24 out of 30 ain't bad. Oh yeah, so, and just a little bit about me before we get into the boring stuff. You might have noticed that the time on my screen, I'm an hour ahead of you guys. Don't get too excited when you think class is almost over. It's an hour ahead because I'm in Edmonton, and so an hour ahead. Means I get to start at 9 instead of 8, or in your case, at 11 instead of 10. Nice. I'm here. So my husband is with the military, so he's a dentist in the military, and so we're posted to Edmonton. So working from home is actually working out great for me, but I know it's not ideal. But I'll show you around. Snow, yuck. But also, hey, where's she? Let's see if I can, well, I can't really see what I'm showing you guys. Let's see if I can get in there. Hi, Zeus. Here. I don't know if I'm showing her, but anyways, she's always there. And yeah, it's just me and her because my husband is on a deployment to Latvia for 6 months. So, but she just loves when I'm teaching, when I'm blah, blah, blah. She just settles right in and she just sleeps the whole time. She loves it when I just talk and talk and talk. So she loves classes, even if you think they're boring. So just remember that. Someone appreciates them. But yeah, so that's kind of my situation. And but yeah, of course, don't let the time in the top left fool you. The grade breakdown, of course, pretty important. So let's talk about that. We're gonna do kind of weekly assignments for, kind of break reasons. We'll do kind of, how many sections we've done, and I'll just focus on and prepare you for tests, right? So that's what those assignments are for. The only difference between assignments and quizzes is that the quizzes you can do on your own time, but they will be timed. So you'll have a limited amount of time to do them. And then those are the quizzes, but they're just meant to just make sure that you're staying on top of the material and you're able to work through them. And they're really just to prepare you for tests. So we will have 3 tests, and they're only 10% each, which is a kind of a weird thing, right? But it's nice because they're kind of low stakes, right? Everything is low stakes this term. So there's a lot of work, but just kind of everything's spread out nicely. So, oh yeah, 3 tests, February 11th, March 18th, and then finally April 6th. April 6th will have covered almost everything. So these tests will be just the new material, and then the final exam is going to be cumulative. So it'll cover all the material that we've done in the course, and it'll be 25% of your mark. Now, all the questions that you're doing will be in Moodle. So there'll be Moodle quizzes and Moodle questions and Moodle everything. So you don't need to worry about, buying anything extra for that. But we do need a textbook, right? Or I'll be following a textbook. My notes are basically just a summary of the textbook. I've got this old tattered and bruised version here, but it's called the Mathematics of Finance and Economic Perspective, just for some flair, I guess. And it's written by Joe Hobart, who is our math chair. So, and it's really kind of, if you think about it this way, this is all you need to absorb for this course. That's kind of nice. We will go through pretty well everything in the textbook. So I appreciate that, especially as, when I was going through school, I did an undergrad in math, and then my master's is in statistics. So stats is kind of more my jam, but I've taught this course, I don't know how many times, probably 10 times already. I haven't taught it in a while though, so I was pretty pumped to have it back. But everyone wants this course because it's so much fun. But yeah, so I like that, everything in here will go through. And if there's something that we're skipping, then I'll make a clear note of that. But that's kind of nice. Otherwise, other textbooks, you're going through and it's like, oh, you're skipping this section and not doing this section and whatever. But in this case, we're going through all of it. You'll probably be able to, well, I guess I shouldn't say this. 1, get away with not buying a textbook. 2, find one really cheap online. Right, we've used this textbook, and they might have changed, the cover color or whatever. Sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's blue, but you can usually see them for pretty cheap on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So if you want to get I've even seen them just laying around in free bins at the college. Now we're not, there on campus, but that's how not wanted they are once you're out of this course. But anyways, no. But you might be able to get away with not having the textbook and just relying on our notes. That's fine by me. But it might be nice to have. There are also, so they're listed as required in the online bookstore. They're not. Just the textbook is required. And then there's a student solutions manual that walks you through step by step how to solve each of the problems at the end of each chapter or section, or I can't remember how, section. So that might be useful, but not required by any means. And then there's also an exam prep book, which would just help you have more problems to work through and just kind of master all this material. Oh yeah, there is a formula sheet, which I posted here. So our formula sheet, it's 2 pages, And it might be worthwhile if you have access to a printer um, to print that off and have it handy. Of course, I would have printed one off for you and given it to you, but I can't. So, um, so there's a formula sheet. Doesn't make sense now to look at it, but we will be chipping away and working our way through it. So by the end of the course, you'll know everything on there. Okay? So what I've started doing, but I haven't finished doing, is just kind of give you an outline, a week by week outline. So usually I'll have, to prepare for this week. In this week, it was nothing. Welcome back. And then what we're doing on each day, so which sections, and then you'll be able to kind of read ahead and plan ahead for what we're doing. So on Thursday when we meet for our second class, we'll go through 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Now, I don't need you to have a financial calculator. A financial calculator is one that kind of looks like this. How does this look any different than any other calculator, you might wonder? It's got some special buttons. What I found, and I don't know, I'm on an iPad, so it might be an Apple thing. Unlikely. It's pretty common to need a financial calculator. So what I found was, where is it? Oh yeah, this BA Calc. So if you kind of search for a financial calculator, most of them are paid. I'm trying a free one. So you can try a free version and it looks like this. Oops. Doesn't like to be, it wants to be this way. All right, that's all right. So a financial calculator is one that has, and I'm just gonna press and hold the buttons, the I per Y, P per Y, amortization, PV, present value, beginning, PMT, payment amount, future value. So those are all financial calculator buttons, right? So this whole row here, that's what makes up a financial calculator. And so I'm going to try this free app. And if it doesn't work out, I'll spring for maybe work my way up. I saw one for $250 in the App Store, so I might try that out. But for right now, it seems to be working fine. I guess there's ads. I haven't seen them yet, knock on wood. So so just have some sort of calculator ready. And I know the BA2 Plus calculator. So the Texas Instruments BA2 Plus, which looks like this, that's the approved business program calculator. So, so I mean, if you're doing other courses, other kind of math business courses, then you should probably just have a calculator, but you don't have to, right? We can just use the app for this term if you want to. Otherwise, I think it's kind of pricey. I've seen them on sale for $35, but sometimes they're as much as 50 something, I think. So it just depends on, when they're on sale, but so they're kind of pricey. But okay. Just to show you, so I just kind of brought in an old course and now I'm revamping it here. These notes are hidden, but what I'll do after each class, oh, this was not a very good example because I just wrote on the course outline. Right, all the notes that we write, I'll post on Moodle. So those are not visible to you because they're old and that would be very confusing. But I'll start writing some notes now and we'll go through them. Okay. So these are the notes that you'll have I'll post them after class. Okay, so off the top of my head, where are my manners? Welcome to business math. You will need a financial calculator, such as Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. And I think there's a fancier one too. It might be called Pro or something like that. It can get quite pricey, so no need for that. Or an app. Try free ones first, right? Just to kind of see what you like. Okay. So I'll use the that free one, which was called what? Oh, here's the ad. QuickBooks, come on. What was it called? BA Calc. Hopefully it's not just an Apple thing. Probably not. I will use BA Calc. Okay. So before you go out and buy one, unless you want to have one kind of handy, right? Sometimes I really got used to this calculator and I like it. It's nice and small. I've got multiple different calculators for different seasons. But I do like this one. Once you get used to working it, it's okay. It's pretty good. So just kind of poke around, and if you find any other fun financial calculator apps, then let me know, and we can try them all out. But what they're doing is no longer that sophisticated. When we started using them, it was all very sophisticated and pretty cool. But now we kind of expect a lot from our computing devices, so it's not that impressive anymore. So, but they were. Okay, so we will use the Mathematics of Finance by Joe Hobart. Any edition will do. As far as I'm aware, there have been no like content changes. It's mostly just fixing typos. And the first few editions had quite a few typos. Not really content-wise, but like not important, but just kind of weird little typos. But so any edition will be fine. Or like I said, I won't write it down, but like I said, you can probably just get away with just using my notes that I post or the notes that you write. Okay. So, but if you need kind of a deeper dive into things, then the textbook is pretty good. Although the one complaint that I've heard from people about the textbook is that it's not wordy enough. You guys want more. Um, um, so I don't think there is an ebook. I think it's just an in-person hard copy book. Yeah. Uh, I'll have to check, but I think Joe was kind of adamant about only hard copy textbooks. I don't know. So I don't have the page up. Anyways. Okanagan College Bookstore. Let's see. We're in Kelowna. And this is Math 114. Go. Kind of a weird page. So it's this first one for $34.99. That's if you buy it new. But like I said, there's usually lots of copies floating around on Facebook Marketplace, for example. So you can try there too. And then the next two, it says they're required, but they're not. They're optional. And I said that in the outline, but we haven't looked at the outline yet. So, but they might be nice to have at all. Okay, so let's go to our course outline. Okay. So again, this is kind of old school. It's got my office. No one's at work anymore. So kind of old, same with my work phone. So you have my cell phone, though it's on Moodle. And office hours, 12 to 2. I decided on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's after our class on Tuesdays, but also at the same time on Wednesdays. All right. So here, right, I said the required text is this one, and then the optional text, and then the required calculator. Same thing with the breakdown. Okay. So if you miss an assignment or whatever, or a quiz, they're not going to be worth that much in the end individually, right? It's if you miss a lot, then that's bad, right? But they will just be counting as 0, and then we just move on, right? For tests, you've got those test dates. The first one is February 11th, and I posted it on Moodle, right? So you have to let me know by January 25th if there is some reason that you cannot write a test during our scheduled class time. You're all here now, so that's great. But who knows, you might have work schedules or just kind of other things going on, and that's fine, but you have to let me know before then so we can arrange something. Okay. And then our final exam is 25%, and it is cumulative, like I said, I think I said, and it'll be in the final exam period. Okay. Oh yeah, so I will be checking your work, right? So you'll have to, so you'll get some problems from the Moodle quiz, and then you'll do your work. And of course, as we come up to a quiz or anything, then we'll do a run through. I'll show you exactly what I expect. But you have to show your work, right? And you have to submit your work so that I can see it. And if for some reason I'm not following what you did, or things are just kind of coming out of nowhere, then I might contact you to have you explain where things came from, right? So just be aware that there could be a post-exam interview if if I'm not following your work, right? If it doesn't make sense or right, so just be really good about showing all your work and being clear with what you're saying. Okay, so we've also got the learning outcomes. Now, learning outcomes, well, one, they're more for me to make sure that I've covered all the learning outcomes. And two, even for you, they're not going to make sense until the end of the course. But they are a really good study tool for the final exam, right? Because you can look back at this and say, okay, well, here are all the things I'm expected to know. It's basically an outline for the final exam, right? So usually they're pretty vague. So right now they don't even make sense, but so we won't go through them, but all right. We're going to work through kind of chapter by chapter, and I think it's not until chapter 3 we're going to do 3.1 and 3.4 together, but that's the only weird thing that I'm doing. Chapter 1, we're just establishing math rules. So, and even chapter 2 is kind of more math rules, not necessarily business math, until chapter 3. So we'll do, I think we do a test. I can't remember if we do a test after chapter 3. And then a test after 4 and 5, and then a test after 6 and 7. And then the only thing is mortgages, which is only one section that hasn't been tested, which would be new for the final exam. So kind of nice to end on a high note. Department policies are kind of outdated because they're for in-class meetings, but one thing that I will say is kind of middle, halfway down, okay? You have to get at least 45% on the final exam in order to be able to pass. Now, with the final exam only being worth, what, 25%, I think? 25%. It's totally possible, where am I? Here. It would be possible to pass without even writing the final exam, but that's not how it's going to work, right? You have to get at least 45% on the final exam to be able to pass, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I don't want anyone to worry about it. If you've been doing the course, so to speak, it has never been a problem for anyone. I think there was one time someone wrote the final exam and they were just so sick and they didn't do as well. But then, of course, I keep that in mind, so don't worry. But like I said, it's never been a problem, so it's not something I want you to worry about now and not at towards the final exam, right? But just need you to be aware. Okay, so I showed you the formula sheet. It'll kind of come into play later on when we need it in chapter 2, maybe even chapter 3, I'm not sure. But some important dates. Classes started yesterday. Yeah, so all our exams will be online. Yeah, so Tegan asked, will the final exam be held online? Yes. The time is usually 6 to 9 because there are evening sections of this course. And so, so business math is usually a late exam time, but I don't know what date yet because they haven't released the final exam schedule. Cool. The last day to kind of drop a course, change courses, change sections, whatever, is January 22nd, which is next Friday. So, and if you drop a course, and this is for any course, before then you'll be eligible for some sort of a refund. I don't know how much it is, but some sort of refund. And then after that, we just we keep going until February, and we've got Family Day, but also Reading Break is tacked onto that Family Day week. So February 15th to 19th is Reading Break, so no classes. And then March 12th is the last day to withdraw with a W on your transcript. If this is your first year, then it's important. Usually, people save business math for kind of the end of their career at the college. So if you know about the W, then that's great. But if it's your first year and you're not aware of what the W is just you can withdraw from a course, and on your transcript, it won't be recorded as a fail. A fail would go towards your GPA, right? And it would bring down your GPA. Whereas if you withdraw from a course before March 12th, then you would get a W, and it won't count towards your GPA. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes, March 10th, that's a long ways into the course, right? You should have a pretty good idea of where you stand. So if you think that you're going to fail the course for whatever reason, that would be the time to withdraw, right? So that you don't have it bringing down your GPA. Classes go until April 16th. We'll have Easter break before then, so April 2nd and April 5th, which is kind of nice. We usually miss out on Easter break. It's usually during our final exam time when we don't want it, when we just want to get out of there. But it's nice to have a little break during the term this term. So we're going till April 16th. But then somehow they managed to figure out how we would still end before the end of April. So kudos to them, I guess. Because I was all worried. So my birthday is on April 30th. And all these years teaching, I'm always finished teaching by my birthday. So I was not worried, but I was concerned that I would have to have final exams on my birthday. I didn't want that, but they figured it out. So great. Yeah, I guess they probably just smushed together the final exam period or something. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but it was nice to have an extra week of break. All right. So, academic integrity, I'm sure the business department has kind of hammered you with don't cheat, don't cheat, don't cheat. And I will do the same. But and we'll talk about, what is cheating, what's fine. And just as a rule, working with someone else is cheating, right? I encourage you. So on the other hand, I encourage you to work together for assignments. Assignments are your time to sit down and really kind of absorb the material. Quizzes, tests, final exams, those are your time to show me how much you know, right? And so if you just keep that in mind, then you'll be safe, right? As long as you're showing me how much you know personally, then you're safe. Okay. I'll save that, and we'll talk in more detail about academic integrity and just kind of what is it, what do we do for before our first quiz or test, probably quiz first. Okay. Our tests will be open book because I really don't see a way for me to be able to police that. So they will be open book. So you should be able to use your resources, but kind of within reason. Kind of more importantly is there are counseling services available through the college. So I know working online and just kind of everything that's going on, it can be quite difficult. So if you're having a hard time, of course, feel free to reach out to me. I am not qualified But if there's anything I can help you with, then I'd be happy to do that. Um, but there are counseling services and they're paid for by the college, so you don't have to pay for them. Um, but definitely use those if you feel like you might need a little bit of help. Okay? There's also accessibility services, right? Uh, you can check it out if you're you know kind of with accessibility services, then you know all about them. Um, but if you do find that you, for example, are having a hard time reading and keeping up during tests, right, then maybe talk to them and see if there's anything they can do for you. But I don't know very much about them. Well, I do. I work with them a lot, but uh, I don't know what their rules are. But they're really great. So, uh, good. So that's our course outline. Okay. Uh, there was something I wanted to write here. Any questions while I think about what it was I wanted to write? I'll just do a quick summary here. So tests will be during our regular class time. Final exam will be during exam period, will be during the final exam period. The final exam period. Okay. And all assignments, quizzes, tests, and final exam, everything will be in Moodle. So all assessments, oops, all assessments will be done in Moodle. Right, so Moodle quizzes. Oops. My writing is never that good, but having been off for like a month, it's really bad. So it's not going to improve that much, but it'll improve maybe a little bit. So all assessments are going to be Moodle quizzes, various forms of Moodle quizzes, and you will need to submit your work for quizzes and tests. Okay, how I want you to approach it is, okay, so for a quiz, use those as practice tests, okay? So show me what you've got on a quiz, and then I can give you a little bit of feedback, and then you can use that for the tests, okay? So you'll need to submit your work for quizzes and tests. And I haven't set it up, but we might use what's called Gradescope. Has anyone used Gradescope before? There's like a little, no, no one. That's all right. it's really just, I'm just checking to see if anyone else was using it, but so it's really just you do your work, and this way you can just do it on paper, right? Pen and paper or pencil probably on paper, and then you scan your work. And before you freak out, there are lots of free scanning apps on your phone, so you just scan your work and then you upload it to Gradescope, and it's just an easier way for me to flip through your work. So I might use that, but I haven't decided yet. So we'll parking lot it for now. But just be aware that I might get you to sign up for Gradescope. But it's pretty easy to use once you have it all figured out. Okay, and we'll do a test run and everything, so not to worry. Okay, well, I can't think of any other things I needed to tell you today. Are there any questions? Awesome. Well, kind of like a cool first day. How about we end it there? And then we can jump into the material because we've got time. We can start the material. So we'll set up our calculators, whether that be the app, so your kind of homework. Find a financial calculator app. Okay. Preferably free. But I think the actual BA2 plus, it's like $850 or something like that. So, and buy the textbook if you want to. Cool. All right. Not bad for homework. Okay. I will end the recording, but I look forward to the term with you guys, and that's it for me today. See you guys on Thursday.